What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist here with
Gersh1!
and today we're on the casting couch.
Yeah, even though the casting couch is black. Not that I watch that stuff.
Right. I mean, I don't know what color it is.
Yeah. Welcome
back to another For the Greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put question in front of your question because we get to those questions first. And since you guys enjoyed last week's episodes where we were outside, we decided to switch up the scenery again, and we're just going to keep doing that until we end up back in the
window to the warp.
There we go.
Or you could say this is maybe an excavation, an adventure into the warp, and this is the many realms of it.
Yeah, this is probably like the ash wastes where like everything is kind of calm. Because it feels like a calming room. Mm-hmm. But yeah. This question comes from James Murphy. He asks, if the Chaos Gods are only in our galaxy, can Eldar leave the galaxy with their craft worlds to save their souls from Slaanesh? Or would they end up bringing chaos into the galaxy? That's a really good question. But let's give some background as to what you're talking about.
Right.
Because like the big problem right now with an Eldar dying is that his body or his soul will be consumed by Slaanesh, she who thirsts, because of the psychic, what is it called?
Just like, I wouldn't even say it like the psychic backlash. It's more of like, how do I put it? It's like these Eldar souls are the reason why she exists, the reason why she wants to consume. And I think it's just like, well, you created me, you owe me, or something to those like
degrees.
Yeah.
And the way that they are saved right now is because they have spirit stones, and the spirit stones basically like the Eldar dies, and then its soul gets stuck inside the spirit stone, and then another Eldar comes up, picks it up, takes it back to the craft world, installs it into the Infinity Circuit, and the Infinity Circuit is just basically like pretend when like if humans died. Pretend that they were uploaded into a MMORPG type of thing, where like you can still visit them, you can turn on your computer and go to that world, and you can still talk to your grandma and stuff. That's the exact same thing as the Infinity Circuit.
Right.
So there's psych nuans in this room. So right now the big problem is that Slaanesh can just consume the soul because the warp is connected to real space. But only the Milky Way galaxy, as far as we know. Because no other outside Xenos has come in through the warp from a different galaxy. It's always just like, if you enter the warp, you're going to exit the warp somewhere in the Milky Way galaxy, never somewhere else.
And it's always somewhere confined within, even like space and time.
Yeah.
So like, it's not like after this galaxy blows up, it's not like you could be put into another galaxy. It's always like confined within that time frame.
Yeah. So then the thought is, or the question, you bring up a really good point. Why don't the Eldar just leave? They have craft worlds already, and the craft worlds themselves are utopias.
Yeah. They
don't have to work. They don't have to do like they have a path for the botanist. That's how like lazy they are on these craft worlds. And their answer is just because the Eldar are stupid. And that stupidity comes from arrogance. It's like, this is my Milky Way galaxy. I'm not going to leave.
Right. It's like they're a dying race, but they still think they could come out on top and go back to like the golden era of the Eldar.
Yeah, so like their whole thing is like, I'm not going to leave to a different galaxy where I would be safe, technically, because she who thirsts is only here. And also, there is a burden that they probably feel. Because like if you read the codex for the Eldar, they always talk about like, oh, this craft world is holding a standing sentry over an area where the Necrons used to live, or like they're waiting for the Necrons to awaken, blah 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 blah.
Right.
That's essentially like another aspect of their culture where they're like, we are the defenders of this planet, or this galaxy, even though we're dying.
And at the same time, too, it's like they still want to free Isha from Nurgle's grasps, and they also want to defeat Slaanesh, because, I mean, they were the creators. They're the reason why a new Chaos God was born, so they kind of burden that and say, like, they have to be the reason to put this god down.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, if they leave the galaxy, it's like saying, you know what? We lose. Like, Slaanesh, you're the winner. Might as well just give them their souls.
But I do understand, like, if you are, like, I understand what you were saying in the comment, because anybody would have just left.
Yeah.
But then I wonder, because when new players come into the hobby, they look at the Eldar, and the first thing you think of is like, okay, these are just elves.
Yeah, space elves.
But then you read the story, and you have to kind of, what is it called? Like, fall in love with that concept of a dying race. And I wonder if part of the draw to Eldar, because I've never really had a draw to Eldar, is that concept of like, we are the defenders of this galaxy. We've been defending this galaxy for eons and stuff like that.
Right.
So if you guys are a first time, like if your army was Eldar first, like maybe even after Space Marines, because everybody starts with Space Marines.
Yeah.
What drew you to it? Comment down below. I would like to know.
For me, easily, it's like their pantheon. They've got like the coolest like gods and origin stories and whatnot. And even though they give you like core concrete notions of these beings, it's still kind of ambiguous enough that, well, did these gods actually exist, or did it become like there was the old ones and that's their belief system of what the old ones were? Like, so it's cool because it really ties into like the War in Heaven and the Necrons and the Catan. And there's a lot to it.
Yeah. Good question, though. It was very, very, it touched on a lot of stuff.
I shed a tear.
Next question.
This one's by Craig's Cottage. Do you think that the Big E could have caused the cybernetic revolt after entering the warp gate on WAAAGH? Perhaps Slaanesh would have been birthed on Terra as humanity came closer to perfection. So we passed the buck on over to the Eldar. So kind of tying in with the first question. But, so humanity's golden age was really similar to that of the Eldar. They were having artificial intelligence and robots basically do all the menial work and basically whatever humans didn't want to do. So because of that, humanity grew to this golden era where they were more complacent and they had more free time to just do perverse things, do whatever they wanted to do. So I could see the Emperor stepping into that and saying, hey, you guys are going to create a god. That's not what we want to do, because then that god is going to, mess up humanity to the point where maybe they can't establish themselves as a superpower. So that does make sense that the Emperor would kind of say, let's start this AI revolt. Let's bring in, the dark times and have another race kind of accomplish that.
Yeah. The big problem with that concept is that the amount of representation in the warp that humanity has as opposed to the Eldar is like, very, very different.
It is, yeah.
Because like the way that it gets described is that like, what is it? Like the Eldar are a bonfire within the warp, whereas like humans are like just like torches, yeah. And then the tower just like, what Candles. Is it? A spark or a candle?
Spark, or like not even a candle. I think it's just like a match.
Yeah, so in that aspect, like you need a lot of energy in order to birth a god, and I think there's just no way that humanity could have done that back then. Like they don't have enough like thrust power,
right,
to birth a god of sex and hedonism and all that kind
perfection.
Of stuff. Yeah,
because when you think about it, not every human is a psyker,
right,
and literally every Eldar is.
Yep.
So it's like, of course, a whole race of psychically powerful beings would birth a god as opposed to humanity.
Right.
But still, it might be able to happen. Maybe if humanity were the ones to birth Slaanesh, maybe Slaanesh wouldn't be as powerful as he or she or it is.
That's true. Yeah.
But then how would that change the dynamic of the Wheel of Chaos? Because if obviously there's one that's weaker, won't that god always be like pushed around and stuff?
For sure, yeah. He would be consumed. And also, like, I wonder, is that why it's taking 10,000 years for the Emperor to become a god? But, I mean, I don't even really know how long the Eldar were licking each other's buttholes.
That's true, for them to... It's like, oh, you were the one that licked the last butthole that created Slaanesh.
Right. It's like a pool of butthole licking or amount of butthole licking, and that pool must be deeper than the pool of like Emperor's citizens praising him.
Right. I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
This one's by Jericho's End. Did the Emperor purposefully make the Salamander Primarch a perpetual?
I think so.
Yeah, because it's, if not heavily implied, it's outright said that the Emperor created his Primarchs in his image, how he wanted them to be, kind of like how he did the Custodes, but more so, more powerful, more specific. So, yeah, I think each Primarch has a purpose, or had a purpose for that matter. And for Vulcan, the Primarch of the Salamanders, his was being a perpetual. But not just that, but also a master forger. And at the same time, it seems like he has more humanity than most other Primarchs.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good trait to have, like sympathy and empathy, especially if you're not able to die. Because then you could continue having those emotions towards humanity in a kinder light. Mm-hmm. And if like he gets beheaded or he dies or something like that, then it's not just like all the other Primarchs hate humans. No, because he could still come back and kind of protect them in that manner.
Yeah. You got it.
I got it. ¿Qué más puedo decir?
Right. Next question comes from Puppy SB. What are the Adeptus Mechanicus beliefs on the afterlife? Do you get 72 toasters if you're good in life? So the afterlife of, like, you continue on through the perfection of and through gaining knowledge. So like that's why you have a lot of tech priests that are really, really old. You technically don't want to die within the machine cult. You want to continue to augment yourself and bring about like a like you want to be as close to the Omnissiah as you possibly can.
Right. And it's like the only way to do that is to live as long as possible, keep trying to find STCs and just improving technology. Because if you give them an afterlife such as like heaven or like a paradise, it's like at a certain point, it's like, why would anybody just keep living for 10,000 years when you could achieve, this paradise? Because I could easily see Belisarius Cawl be like, you know what? Why am I even working on this? Like, I'm going to have a paradise when I die, so what's the point of living and making all these clones and whatnot? So it's like, I feel like it's very rooted in staying alive to further technology.
Yeah, which is rare in religions, if you notice. I think most beliefs are just trying to get you comfortable with the concept of death, not the Adeptus Mechanicus. They want you to stay alive as long as you can.
Yeah, basically, F everybody. You need to be alive to further progression.
I wish more people had that mentality, because then we can crack the code of aging.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of aging, have you seen the new, what is it, Love, Death, and Robots?
Not yet, no.
I want to say it's either the first or the second little episode. It talks about like aging and immortality, and in my opinion, that's probably the best of the new season.
I really want to watch it now.
Slight spoiler alert, it's not as good as the first season.
I really didn't like the first season.
Oh, then you might like this one.
Or just this one will be trash.
Yeah.
I did like the first season where like it looks like they're in the warp.
Yeah.
With that one demon thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of like 40K-esque things in the first season of Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix, which you guys should watch.
Check it out.
Hashtag not sponsored.
By Netflix? No way. This question comes from Joe Nando. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Who has the better plot armor? Any character or Canadian geese?
Canadian geese are monsters, man.
That's what you think. So
look at their mouths.
I know, but like, so I was on a walk this morning around my cul-de-sac, because according to you guys, we live in a cul-de-sac. And there was like right now the geese have their, is it goslings? What are they?
Ryan Goslings.
There you go. So they were there, and they were like posturing up because I was walking towards them, and then they were hissing and all that kind of stuff. And then I remembered a TikTok where this 5-year-old boy is chasing the little geese, and the mom is like mad, but the mom never does anything. And then finally, when the mom decides to do something, it like bites the kid, and then the kid whacks it, and then just keeps chasing the little geese. So which leads me to believe, like, that's all posturing. Canadian geese, like, we allow them to exist near us. Let's not forget that, because they were about to die out. So I guess plot armor wise, a character from 40K has more plot armor than these geese.
Yeah. Look at any named character. Dante's, Drago, Gilliman. They're like invincible.
Blackmane died and then came back to life.
Yeah.
Gatskull Margaret Thraka died, got beheaded, came back to life.
Yeah.
So
So these named characters are the money makers. They ain't going nowhere.
nowhere.
Speaking of going nowhere, Grand Moff Revan says, which is your favorite model? Heidi Klum? I don't know. In general, I really like the design of like robots, like Contemptor dreadnoughts, Tau battlesuits. Those always appeal to me. Leviathan dreadnoughts too. But if I had to pick a favorite, I would say the Forge World variants of the Tau XV8 battlesuits. To me, they look what the Tau battlesuits should have looked like because they got like the sleeker head. The weapons aren't just like attached to their arm like that, like this. Like they're actually integrated. So that's a pretty cool design. Same thing with like the rail battlesuits for Forge World. They're pretty cool.
Yeah. I like the Carnifex.
Yeah.
I think it looks really cool. It looks like a rhino, an alien rhino.
And then you have a lot of options too. Like you could change the tail type, give them tusks, adrenal sacs.
Yeah, I would definitely do the giant claws.
Don't they have like a wrecking ball too you can put on it?
Yep, like a Forge World one, I think.
Yeah.
I want to start Tyranids.
Tyranids do seem fun. We had a Tyranid player, and we haven't played against Tyranids in a while, so...
Yeah. He left because he invested into VeChain, and he made crazy amounts of money, so now he's out there. Next question.
The big one. When did you guys get legs? My mind is blown.
So we've had legs for about 3 months now,
Something like that, yeah.
which is why we're moving around. We finally were able to leave that one spot that we had been in. It started to smell really bad too.
Yeah, we were starting to grow like roots and moss. But it's weird because don't people say like moss always grows on like the north side or something like that?
Yep.
And it was like growing all over. So
That's
it's like,
true.
which way is north again?
It was because of the anomaly of the warp behind us.
Anomaly.
Next question.
Abstract digital recordings. At first, when I heard the theory on Sanguinius killing the Emperor, I yelled, heresy! But the more you look at things, it makes sense. If not, how was Leman Russ able to better a chaos-enhanced Horus just before this? And Leman Russ stated himself that he wanted no part of the Hawk Boy. What do you think really happened? And if it's how the lore says, how was Russ able to beat Horus and the angel could not?
I think it has to do with the fact that Sanguinius and Horus were like best bros.
Amigos.
And I think that's what did it. Like when you're fighting your best friend, it's more emotional. Whereas Leman Russ is just like, no, this is a fight.
Right.
And plus, he fights with everybody.
That's true, yeah.
So like he's consistently like, you know what, this is a Primarch, I'm gonna handle my business. Whereas Sanguinius is like, no, this is my brother. He knows my secret. That my boys are turning into bloodthirsty killers. So.
Yeah, and I also think Chaos probably has a few like strings to pull, because it's like maybe it's like you need to lose or like pretend to lose against Russ in order for events to play out this way.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I mean, Zeech knows things.
There's a lot of things.
Like he knows why Keebler elves only live in trees,
Right.
instead of condos and flats.
Exactly. This question comes from Warsmith Gosvern. Isn't the warp just misunderstood science? No, that's why it's science fantasy, because it's just magic.
I think he's referring to like in the MCU, they're talking about how magic is just science that they haven't understood yet.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's 100% true. Because like you look at Doctor Strange and it's like, where's the science in this?
and doing the thing with his hands. Because it's not like right now, if we started doing things with our hands, we're going to create a portal.
Well, that's because we don't know the truth of the universe.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, that's magical, not science. Like, there has to be like an on and off switch. Because like, I got into this conversation with a different friend who says like, spirituality cannot be explained by science because you're using a man-made thing to describe like, or to try to understand something that's godly. And it's like, no, that's not what science is. Like, science is supposed to be almost like goggles for us to see or to understand what's the truth.
Happening, yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter if the animal knows 1 + 1 is 2. 1 + 1 will always equal 2. Same thing with gravity. So I think that's the situation. Like, just because you don't understand about gravity doesn't mean that, like, when you jump off a cliff you're gonna fly. Like, so it's in the same sense with 40K. Or no, not the same sense with 40K. In 40K, it's like, well, no, now I know about the warp and I know how to manipulate the warp. So if I jump off, now I can fly. That's fantasy, not science. Does that make sense?
I think I don't.
Because is there a second Doctor Strange movie?
Not yet.
No, okay. Yeah, because the first one, I remember thinking, like, this is just magic.
Because it's like, how does this cape have a mind of its own?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not like the fiber has memory, because it reacts to its environment. And memory can't react to anything that happens spontaneously. Because it has to think for itself.
Yeah.
Magic.
Comment down in the comment section below if you guys disagree.
This next question is by Robert Has Downs Jr. What would be cuter as a pet? A servo skull, a squig, or a nurgling?
The servo skull for sure. Just because it's the safest.
Yeah, it's the safest. But between like a squig and a nurgling, like those things are more like
human.
More animalistic, I guess. Like squigs are outright just like feral creatures that are out, in the wild.
Right.
A nurgling, they actually like play tricks and stuff. It's almost like having like a little underpants gnome in your house.
Yeah. The only thing is that, like, with nurglings, they look disgusting and they probably smell bad.
Yeah.
Same things with squigs. Unless, like, you could change the type of squigs. These fucking psych new ones. Because if it's like a hair squig, it's just a blob of hair. That's actually kind of gross.
But aren't all furry creatures just a blob of hair?
That is true, yeah. That's why I don't understand people who like...
long-haired guinea pigs?
Yeah. That's gross.
Give them a haircut, man.
Good question, though.
But which one? You said you'd go with the servo skull?
Yeah.
Yeah, after thinking about it, I think I'd do the skull. Because you could, like, paint it and make it look like a sugar skull.
Yeah, that'd be cute.
There you go, it wins.
And it's more helpful. Like, a servo skull has information that it can give you. It can float around. Like, I want water, and then it gets you water. If you do that to the nurgling will come back with, like, vomit.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Those were the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, please comment down below. I wonder where we're going to be next week. Guess in the comment section below. Don't say something gay. This is Gershwin,
The Sound Alchemist, and we are out.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation. I knew I never had that much to lose.